Welcome back to On the Peg with me, your host, the one, the only, the eyebrow-raising, unemployed, antisocial. Yeah, I can see that one. And, of course, ugly old man known as the Montreal Man. And here we are. It's MAFEX Monday. And as promised, we are doing the MAFEX Cyborg Superman versus the DC Multiverse Cyborg Superman. Yeah, that's finally the battle of the cyborgs. So what do you say we get Dr. Scalpel? Dr. Scalpel. And let's change things up a little bit. Instead of doing the MAFEX first, let's do the multiverse first. So let's get Cyborg Superman out of his plastic prison and take a look at him. Okay, right off the start, I do want to say this is not the Hank Henshaw, the original Cyborg Superman that we had after the death of Superman. And to my knowledge, DC Multiverse has not made a Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman. This actually is, in fact, the Zor-El Cyborg Superman. That was from the Supergirl series and so forth. As you can see in the close-up, he is detailed. Now, there are variants of this guy. I've known that one variant for sure has red boots, and a lot of this is red. The other one might be a custom, because I haven't found any other photos of this, but I've also seen a other variant of this where he's still mostly blue. That's probably a custom, but there is one variant of this guy. I would like to get him. Then again, I still haven't got myself the Eradicator that DC Multiverse did. Okay, as I was saying before that cut, I still haven't tracked down that Eradicator that DC Multiverse did, and I would like a Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman. The Zor-El one, however, in some ways, if you can put Hank Henshaw up against this Cyborg Superman, well, he's half Kryptonian. Do the math, okay? But as you saw in the close-up, he is detailed. I mean, the arm, the face, the detail in, the torso, it is a pretty well detailed Cyborg Superman. The cape, of course, is heavy. And it also brings up another point. I did say this is unscripted. Even though I do like the fact that this time we got a flying base, one thing I've noticed when you have capes this thick, when you put them on the flying base, they tend to go sideways. But I'm going to leave the flying base off to the side for now. So it is a detailed action figure. It's nicely detailed. The face sculpt I really do like. I'm not a big fan of asymmetry. But in this case, as it relates to the story, yeah, his arm does do that. He can basically make his arm bigger with parts and so forth. So, and I'm happy I got him. It's nice to have a Cyborg Superman. You still need to get the Eradicator. And it's a good build. It is a good build. It'd be nice if I get that Eradicator and the Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman. Just saying. But for now, he's a good addition to the multiverse. And he's also a good height, good weight. The cape's got damage. It would have been nice to have the S on the cape in the back too, but let's not go down that rabbit hole by having S's on the back. I mean, a cloth cape would have been interesting, but I don't mind. I mean, there's just some places where I could see a bit more paint detail would have been nice, but overall, a good action figure. I do recommend picking him up. But let's get over to the MAFEX one, because that's what you're here for. You're not here to see me. You're not here for me to talk about multiverse. If you wanted that, you'd be watching the Friday show. No, you're here to see what I think about the MAFEX Cyborg Superman. So what do you say we get him out of the package, and we'll take a look. Alright, right off the start, I will say I'm a little annoyed by the plastic they use to keep all his joints separate. He does come with 4 set of extra hands. Nice. He also has the flying base with the with that rod that I never really use. He also comes with this. You can switch it out for his Cyborg hand. It's supposed to have 2 blasts. Now, one thing I did discover when I was putting this thing on is that you really have to be careful how you line up the blasts. If not, they don't go in. All right, nice little bonus when you buy him. But you saw in the close-up, okay? He comes with a cloth cape. Now, I stretch it out here. That is a very large cloth cape. I mean, I can wear this as a face mask. Does have the S in the back. The cape is wired, but I will tell you one thing. It is, because of its size, it's really hard to get the cape into a position that I kind of like. I mean, I'll try to put it back in the position I had for the close-up, but you can see it's a struggle because it just keeps on wanting to bend and so forth. And you know, nice having a wired cape, but at the same time too, it's a bit annoying. Now, as for the figure himself, okay, this is the Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman. This is kind of what I would hope that DC Multiverse would have done, was the Hank Henshaw from the Death Superman storyline, the Ring of Superman storyline. Now, he is, like every other MAFEX, very posable. He does have that shoulder thing. I noticed a lot of MAFEX where you don't have that extra ring around the shoulder, so you get that weird disconnect of the shoulder. But he is detailed. I mean, there's detail in the side, the arm, the leg. It's a nice looking figure. The face is detailed. I was a bit shocked. There's no extra head. There's no like spare Hank Henshaw head for this Cyborg Superman. Now, so let's start doing the comparison, shall we? Well, height-wise, okay, no comparison. Size-wise, Multiverse is a good size. He feels small in my hands. He really does feel small in my hands. Detail-wise, it's a tie. They both have a large amount of detail. I like the details in the face. Cape, well, I do like a wired cape, but this time it's too much of a wired cape. So, in that sense, even though it's a heavy plastic cape, it is a nice cape. And unlike the latest bunch of DC Multiverse, this doesn't feel like that weird plastic. This feels like a good size type plastic, the normal plastic. Good plastic. It does feel like good plastic. A little stiff, but you expect that. I haven't warmed him up now. But overall, I will have to say I give the win, not just because he's half Kryptonian, but I give it to the Zor-El Cyborg Superman because Hank Henshaw, in this case, doesn't compete. So Multiverse gets the win for this one, which makes for an interesting sort of look. When I looked at Steel, it was close, but the Multiverse Steel, bang for your buck, I was happier with. WW84, Wonder Woman 84, MAFEX won that one hands down because the Multiverse MAFEX was a movie one, and they suck. Poison Ivy, well, there was nothing to compare it to because I wasn't going to take the MAFEX Poison Ivy, which is a nice Poison Ivy, and compare it to the Batman movie Poison Ivy, which wouldn't have been fair. Catwoman was kind of a tie. It was kind of a tie. So that one so this is sort of like the deciding one. So when it comes to MAFEX versus Multiverse, well, Multiverse is going to get the win. There's a couple of reasons for that. I was even asked by one of my viewers, they said, how come I'm not going to be doing MAFEX anymore? Like, why am I ending the MAFEX Monday with this episode? Well, a couple of reasons. One, of course, is I haven't worked since December 18th of last year. So, 9 months not working, you have to start really thinking, do I really want to budget for more of these, or do I want to budget for more of these? So, budget-wise, it makes sense to end the MAFEX for now. Now, if I ever get a sponsor, or if someone sends me a MAFEX, yeah, I'll do it. If I don't have to pay for it, I will review a MAFEX. I'm not gonna lie. If someone sent me Mystic Legions, I review them too. But because I am not sponsored, and I have to budget for everything I review on this Monday episodes and the Friday episodes, I have to be very picky with what I spend my money on. I can only cut back on so much food for so long before I start going crazy. I know you think I'm already crazy, but that's besides the point. But another reason why I'm stopping the MAFEX Monday is in some ways tied to the value. For what I paid for this versus what I paid for this, I could have gotten 3 more of these guys. So when it comes to the bang for your buck, if you don't collect any other action figures, you only want a couple every now and then, yeah, sure, go with MAFEX. You are paying a lot more money for a MAFEX than you are for a Multiverse. Okay, you do get more sets of hands. You get a flying base. That's pretty good. Normally you get more than one face sculpt, which is nice. But is it worth all that extra money? Because size-wise, you know, you're paying for a smaller figure. Yeah, it has more accessories, but weight-wise, this still weighs more. In other words, you're getting more plastic for your buck when you buy a Multiverse versus MAFEX. Now, MAFEX, I do admit, the wired capes are a nice touch, but with a lot of the Multiverse now, McFarlane has learned, put wired and cloth capes on a lot of the DC Multiverse. So what was once a special feature of MAFEX is no longer. And when you just think about it, if you're a collector and you want to collect a lot of action figures, you have to be rich to keep on buying these. These will put you in the poorhouse. It's a shame, too, because I would love for MAFEX to do 7-inch action figures. It'd be nice. And I do know there's other companies out there that make custom figures. I've seen quite a few. There's even 1/6 scale ones, which look really nice because they actually have cloth clothing and everything else. There's also all the, how can I put it this way, the bootleg companies. You see them advertised on Ali and Temu a lot. They mostly do Marvel bootlegs, but, you know, that just shows you that if you're looking at a MAFEX figure, for example, $100 figures, I did see one video where it's a MAFEX Venom for over $100 US versus a bootleg from, I think it was from Temu, that was only like 20 bucks. The $20 one was actually worth more money. So that's a major reason why I'm stopping the MAFEX Monday is, of course, the value for your money and my budget. So, you know, 2 good reasons right there. But there's another reason as well. And that reason is the quality of the MAFEX. I honestly have not seen a better quality in MAFEX than I have versus DC Multiverse. Mostly when it comes to things like swapping the hands out or head swaps. Because MAFEX is so much smaller than the Multiverse, the pegs they use for the hands, the heads, are small and they are delicate. So many times when I was doing the Poison Ivy, I thought a hand was going to break and I was swapping them out to see which ones I wanted to use. And it's the same thing. I've always felt with MAFEX, I really have to warm up. If I want to swap this hand out, I have to warm this up before popping it out and popping the new one in. Multiverse, when you have multiple hands, it just pops in, pops out. So, yeah, that's like, 3 good reasons for me to stop doing the MAFEX Mondays. But as I said, if I ever do get sponsored or I have someone wants to send me a MAFEX, yeah, I will gladly review them. I'm not against reviewing MAFEX. I don't think they're a bad company overall. I just think that price-wise, you're paying a lot more than you should for a smaller figure just because it has a couple extra hands. Because even when I compare this to some of the Marvel Legends, 6-inch, 6-inch, they even seem small compared to some of the Marvel Legends. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm ending the MAFEX Mondays. It's just that they don't fit in with my collection as a whole. I'm happy I got the ones I have. You know, they have their own little shelf, and that's where they're going to stay. But overall, I don't think they're worth the money. Sorry, MAFEX company. I do think you charge way too much for your product, especially when a lot of it feels like if I had the proper 3D printing software, I could probably make my own 6-inch version or 7-inch version of my figure. So, a bit disappointed with MAFEX. So the final judgment is Multiverse beats MAFEX for value of what you get for your money. For quality, it's hit and miss sometimes with Multiverse. Like the Friday episode, I had problems with the plastic they were made of. This one's got the right proper feeling plastic. Accessories, yeah, MAFEX, you always get accessories, no doubt about it. But is that worth it enough to spend that kind of money on a MAFEX just to get maybe 2 extra set of hands or 3 sets of hands or maybe an extra head or a cloth cape that is honestly way too big and hard to manage? So yeah, it's MAFEX. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted, MAFEX. But I'm sorry, it's not like that Captain Carrot. Sorry, I was thinking about Captain Carrot for a second because I didn't manage to get the bearing to that. But I was thinking about there's a Captain Canuck action figure out there. It's made in the Marvel Legends style. It's about, I think it's about $70 Canadian. In some ways, that's more of a value for me than this because, well, I'm not buying the Captain Canuck because I can't afford it right now. But money-wise, you're getting a figure that's pretty rare, not well known, versus a figure that's mass-produced anyway. It's the same thing too. I mean, for example, in Ireland, you got a comic book called the Celtic Clan. I would love to see action figures of those guys because that's kind of cool. Comic books are not as well known, having their characters. It's back, for example, when Graffiti did, Mage. They did Hellboy. They did Madman. They did Grendel. Those action figures were different styles, different artists, but not everyone knew about them. And I actually have those. I did them as an episode before where I did the, a retro look at some of the toys I have. That's kind of nice. To me, that's worth the money. If you're going to do a character that is not as well known, like, for example, the Captain Canuck, to me, that would be worth the money more than buying Cyborg Superman, which, oh, look, Multiverse has a version of it. And the reason for that is, in some ways, with toys like that, you're buying the rarity as well. This is not that rare. No, it's not. And for the price, I'm sorry, not worth it. It's like Mythic Legions. When I first started seeing those, I was like, wow, those look really cool. They're really expensive. And wow, they must be limited production runs. Then I started looking at the information about Mythic Legions. Yeah, they are nice. They're made in the States for the most part. I think some parts they get made somewhere else, but they're not limited. They're not really that limited. In some ways, some of these DC Multiverse ones are more limited than the Mythic Legions. But Mythic Legions, at least you are paying for slightly more unique characters. They have more detail, so I kind of get that. But MAFEX and some of the other ones too, the other companies that make some of these guys, you're making cinch action figures that you're charging 3 times as much than the big company. And I know some people might say, well, MAFEX can't compete with the volume that these guys make. Bullshit. Bullshit. And I call bullshit on that. Because with the technology that's available nowadays, you can compete. You can also make contracts with other companies. Say, do this for me, do that for me. So, MAFEX, I wish you luck in the future. You won't be getting any more of my money because, like I said, I don't think for what you sell, it's worth 3 times the price of a DC Multiverse. And that's it for the MAFEX Mondays. I hope you enjoyed the series. Let me know what you think of MAFEX. If you actually think it's worth the money to buy MAFEX, or do you kind of agree with me that they're overpriced? Now, if MAFEX ever lowered their price range, say for example, okay, in Canada, I've seen him go anywhere in Canada, depends what store you go to. I got him at GameStop, of course. He's about, say, 30 to 40 bucks. Most stores. I won't tell you what I pay for him, but look him up on Amazon and you'll see. So if MAFEX was going to do figures more in the price range of this, I'd probably buy a few more. But for what I paid for this guy and what most people pay for MAFEX, I mean, they go from $100 US all up to $200. Not worth the price. Just saying. But that's going to wrap up this Monday MAFEX. Stay tuned for later tonight. You're going to see the rebirth, the relaunch, just for a while, of the occasional Marvel Monday, and we'll see you in a little bit.